Hi Flosstube, my name is Kirsty, Crafting Kirsty on YouTube and Instagram. This is a video about cross stitching, quilting, crochet, any other craft I fancy having a go at, and gardening. I did a separate gardening video yesterday. We were predicted to thunderstorms. We had one or two, didn't amount to much, a lot of rain, or quite a bit of rain, but no wind. So fortunately my plants are all standing. So today I'm going to talk to you about cross stitching and quilting. I have done a little bit of crochet. I'm not going to show it. I haven't pulled it all back out again, don't worry. But it's just no different to, there's just another row of green and another row of red, that's all. And I haven't done any other crafts because we've been quite busy. Have I said it's Wednesday the 20th of July? If I haven't, it is. It's so hot. It's so hot, it's ridiculous. I know we shouldn't complain, and it'll be raining. Combine theoretically is coming out next week, so it will start to rain, so make the most of it now because it will soon be gone. I'd like to say hello to any new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. I hope you enjoy my video. I hope you see some patterns you haven't seen before, or you're inspired to buy some patterns. Please leave comments, say hello. It's always great to get to know people. We've had a busy, I can't remember when I last recorded actually. I think it was, it's June the 18th, so it's basically been, has it only been a month? It seems a bit longer than that, but anyway. John and I went up to, we had 24 hours away, we went up to Home Firth, which is where they filmed Last of the Summer Wine. And whilst I wasn't, I watched a couple of episodes, but I wasn't a huge fan of it, but obviously I do remember it from my youth. So it's quite interesting to go up there and have a look round. Yeah, just nice to get away for 24 hours, to be honest with you. My eldest turned 21. Sadly, the Monday of her birthday weekend, she actually tested positive for COVID. Fortunately, she had absolutely no ill effects, side effects or anything from it, but was obviously confined to her house. For her 21st birthday, which was a bit miserable, but as I said, you're not on a ventilator in hospital, be happy. I had my birthday, which involved a new start, and then we've actually had a week away. Not my eldest, she's been working, sorry, hot. She's been working, so we took the twins and we had a bit of a road trip. We went up to Liverpool via a couple of National Trust properties because we are members, we rarely use it, so we every now and again we have a bit of a spurt and do about 8 of them in 1 week to get our money's worth. So we went to Biddulph Grange, which is the most fantastic gardens, really, really good, with lots of secret passages and tunnels in. And then we went to Dunham Massey and we went round the house in Dunham Massey. That was, fine, interesting. Yeah, I like history, but to be honest with you, one old house is fairly similar to another old house. It's just big, full of beautiful things. And I'm very glad I don't have to clean it. After we spent the day in Liverpool, we did a bus tour and went to a couple of museums, so that was good. And then the next day we spent at Lake Windermere. We did sort of a little train ride, and then we did a boat ride across the lake from Lakeside to Bowness. It was heaving, absolutely heaving. We sort of literally felt like cattle getting off the boat, 2 by 2. And yeah, it was very busy. We sat and ate our picnic lunch. And then I said, right, we've got 10 minutes before the boat leaves. They hadn't given us quite enough time because I was trying to fit too much in the day. So we sort of jogged along the main street of Bowness. Nice shop, must come back here one day. Right, back to the boat. And then in between Lake Windermere and Kendal, which was the next town that we went to, we bypassed a bobbin mill. It's actually underneath the English Heritage. I didn't pay to go in, I'm afraid, but I did buy myself a bobbin. So yeah, so all the children and John just looked at me and went, oh, that's nice. I know, but I'm going to do a cross stitch, hang it from here, or I can just have it on the side in the shelf, decoration. I don't know, I've bought myself a bobbin. I now feel like I'm part of the gang. So yeah, the bobbin mill, is half a mile away from Lake Windermere. So if you put in bobbin mill, Lake Windermere, you'll find it. And you can go round the mill, and they do have quite a nice little gift shop there. We then carried on to Kendal. This was all on the same day. We carried on to Kendal because I wanted to go to the Quaker tapestry display. So there is a Quaker meeting house in Kendal, and they have on display there Quaker tapestry. So a lady called Anne, I can't remember her second name now, I'm afraid. A lady called Anne wanted to sort of memorialise, I suppose, Quakers, the start of Quakers, how it all began, the story of them, and wanted to try and get it worldwide, get children involved in it and everything, and make it a bit like the sort of Bayeux tapestry, really. I think there are 77 different panels to it. Not all 77 are at this Quaker house, and I think various bits of it go on tour sometimes to different areas, although they always have a permanent display there. And it was just absolutely fantastic. It was really, really good. I mean, even children and John sort of wandered around going, God, that's quite impressive. I mean, they only lasted about 10 minutes, but that's 10 minutes longer than I expected them to last, to be honest with you. So I bought a couple. I have put photographs on my Instagram. Just a couple of the panels, photographs there. But this is a postcard. So this is one of them. And then this was the second postcard I bought. So this is another. And each panel has a sort of description and symbolism underneath it. But I mean, the detail in it is fantastic. It really is. It's really well worth the trip and very, very cheap to get in. I mean, it's not, you know, it's a room, but it is really, really good. So whilst I was there, I also did another little bit of shopping. I bought this kit, Cooperation Donkeys. Cooperation is better than conflict. So I will get that stitched up at some point. And then, because you do, I bought myself a bit of the woolen cloth. So this isn't quite the same. I'll read it out quickly in a minute. So this isn't quite the same. And out again. And you also have got a piece of calico in the back of the packet. So the original woolen cloth was especially woven for the tapestry in Somerset. The colour was based on the local stone known as Quantock sandstone. 9 different shades of wool were identified and selected to be woven using a random warp, which produced a low-key stripe. This cloth is now woven in southwest Wales. It's a plain weave woolen cloth, with 16 ends and 8 to 19 picks to the inch. There are 7 colours of sheep's wool in the warp and 2 in the weft. 7 different breeds of British sheep, including Shetland and Jacob, are used. The cloth is washed and scoured with soda and soap and then dried and pressed. It is not treated or moth-proofed in any way, as this is not recommended by textile conservators. So yes, if you get it in the right light, you can see the squares or the holes. So you could cross stitch on it. I think I will probably either do a bit of embroidery or a plique on it, but I thought, well, I'll just buy a piece. It wasn't out of the way. 12, 13 pounds for a fairly interesting piece of cloth. I don't know quite what I'll do on it, but I will do something. And then the final thing I bought there, which really makes no sense at all, is I bought a knitting pattern, which, considering I can't knit, why I bought that, I don't know. But there was also a counterpane displayed at the Quaker Tapestry Museum. And it's essentially, you have squares of knitted pattern, and then you have a square where embroidery has been done. And so this pattern tells you how to make the square. So one of these days, when I learn to knit, I might well make myself a blanket using these squares. Or I might not. I might pass it on to a friend who can actually knit and might get something done. So yeah, so that's Kendal, Quaker Tapestry Museum. The next day we climbed a mountain, and then we came home the scenic route on the following day. So that was our holiday. It was really good, actually. We all really enjoyed it. So on to Flosstube shout-outs. There's quite a few. I'm trying to get to the end. There won't be a Flosstube in August. I won't be back until the middle of September now. It takes me most of the day to get organised, upload it, sort it all out, pack it all away, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how people do weekly ones, I really don't. So there won't be one in August. I'll be back in the middle of September. So as a result, I was trying to get a few more Flosstubers ready to shout out. So we're going back a bit in the alphabet to Fayrie Floss, F-A-Y-R-I-E, new word floss. So I found this lady recently. She has a mini Haid on the go, and she does quite a lot of artwork as well. She's learning to be an artist, I suppose, but using all different mediums, and she's actually really good. I mean, I can't draw a straight line with a ruler, and she always holds things up and sort of says, oh, it's okay. And I think, oh no, I think that's really good actually. So yeah, so she is very busy at the moment doing a dissertation for her master's. So at the moment, the last video of hers I watched, she only showed the one project. So yeah, so Fayrie Floss, and then Cardiff Stitcher has had a video out. She has a Haid, and she's doing a couple of Christmas pieces in July, and she's also doing a piece for her daughter's teacher. So that's the Cardiff Stitcher. Then go down to Mad Morti. Now I haven't actually watched one of her videos yet, or she and her husband partner seem to do the videos together. I think he stitches as well, although I couldn't really work out what he was stitching on at the moment. But certainly she's got the Peppermint Purple Sal on the go, she's got a Haid on the go, and she's got, I've written down, the Christmas Mousse. And it's the one, is it IVK Needlecraft, or, you know, it's one of these kits, and it's the mousse where he's got the village in his antlers, and there's sort of the whisper threads, that's the smoke coming out of the chimneys of the cottages and things. Which one is it? And I've always looked at it and gone, oh, I like that, I like that. I don't need it, but I like it. I don't need it, but I like it. So yeah, so it'll be interesting to watch her progress on that, because it really is a fantastic looking chart. Next with M is Mommalovesyougb, Michelle. I'm sure she needs no introduction to anybody. If she does, you really are living underneath a stone. So yeah, so she does her Sunday morning briefing, so go and watch her. And then next we've got Nardine, I'd say Nardine, of Nads X Stitch, and that's Nads, I will write all these below in the description, NADZ _ X Stitch. Now, Nads has a lot of projects. I'm sure she won't mind me saying she has a lot of projects on the go. But she has a lot of Mirabilias, a lot of Chatelaines, a lot of Long Dogs. She does big projects, but they're all absolutely fantastic. And she really does seem to be the fabric queen of the UK. She has a lot of hand-dyed fabric. It's always good to look at. Next in the list is Nicola Parkman from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. I'm sure she needs no introduction. She does seem to do, I don't know, I think it's Friday. She has a regular, reasonably short video that comes out. Then there is Sewing Sam. She is doing the Heart of the Home Sal. She's done a couple of pieces from the Cotton and Twine box. And she seems to be doing all of the caterpillar cross-stitch trees, you know, all the Hello Pumpkin, Hello Dear. She seems to be doing all of those. You've got Sewmesarah, who I think she's only had about 5 videos out already, or she's had 5 videos out already. She has a couple of Liz Matthews on the go. She's doing the Modern Folk Embroidery, Home Sweet Home Sal, and she's also doing Tudor Bee by the Blue Flower. That's just one of, or those are 3 of 4 many of her projects. Simply a Stitcher, Nicola. She has a Haid, a Long Dog, and she's also doing a Stitch Rovia piece. So go and check her out. Now the next one, Smurfette Stitches, is Adele, and she actually hasn't put out a video in about a year, but she was one of the first English Flosstubers that I found, and I really enjoyed all of her videos, so I'm hoping that if enough of us pressure her to do a video, she might do. I know she's got young children and she works, so she probably hasn't got time, but it would be good to see her again. But she has a Tempting Tangles piece on the go, Prairie Schooler, Country Cottage Needlework. She does quite a variety. The next one is Stephanie Overfield, who's Stitchy Steph on Instagram, and she is the Disney Queen. So she has quite a few bothy threads, Satsuma Street, Tiny Modernist. She has a lot of magazines that she stitches Disney pieces out of. But yeah, she's really bright spark, really enjoyable to watch. And then a new Flosstuber, she's now had her second YouTube Flosstube video out, is Stitchamajig. And and she actually lives near me, so that's quite exciting. Anne is her name, and she is a huge Theresa Wentzler fan, so she has a big folder full of Theresa Wentzler patterns. She's also doing Bothy Threads piece, Paula Vaughan pieces, so she has a lot of different pieces on the go. And in her first video, she actually shows a lot of her previous finishes, and they're sort of very 90s country cottage, you know, sort of country kitchen style. They're really pretty, really nice. Not the sort of thing I would necessarily pick up, but having seen them stitched, I would then stitch them. So yeah, she's worth having a look at. And that's the rest of it. I've got another 12 to go in September, S through to W, unless some new people pop up. So as I said, I will write all of those names in the description box below. Go and take a look and see if you like any of them. So on to my whips, which are multiplying. I like rabbits in the spring. Yeah, it's all getting a bit ridiculous now, really. But anyway. So my first whip is my Haid, which is Mini Garden Gate by Amy Stewart, artwork by Amy Stewart, charted by Haid. So I'll try to get that quite close. It's a really crappy printout. I haven't got very far with this at all. I think the last time I showed this, I had sort of done half a page, and I've done another 1 and a bit rows or something. So basically, I'm struggling a little bit. I mean, I love it. I always say this. I always say I'm struggling a bit with this. I love stitching it, and when I get in the groove of stitching it, I really enjoy stitching it. But I had a lap seat, the one which tucks underneath your leg and then has a hoop. And I was stitching it two-handed, and I was getting on really well. And then just because the amount of fabric is moved significantly across, so I'm having to wrap more and more fabric into the clamp, it's not holding it anymore. So I got a bit stuck at that point with how I was going to work it. I tried stitching it in hand, but with parking as well, it just wasn't working, because I was just constantly catching the loose threads on the back. And then I did end up using a very small hoop, which was okay, but it's just a bit, it's not two-handed and it's just a bit fiddly. So I have just been out today. I was looking for one of those lap stands that sort of, the legs sit either side of you as you sit on the seat. And I was struggling to find one really that I wanted. There are some in Russia. Is it Dubco? Very pricey. I'm sure a completely reputable company, but very pricey. I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to spend that, because I've never used one before, so I don't know if it is actually going to work. And I've just been literally today to Hobbycraft because I saw one. I've searched the internet for ages and this one didn't come up. I looked today and this one came up. And it is I think it's a Siesta lap stand. I'm giving it a quick try. It's all right. It could do with being a bit higher. So I might see if I can sort of get John to put it on a couple of blocks of wood just to raise it up a bit, so the wood is level with the top of my thighs, just so I can get my hand underneath easily. So yeah, so anyway, my arm's beginning to ache now. So this is the Mini Garden Gate by Amy Stewart, and hopefully I will get more of that done. I do enjoy it, and I've got lots of other full coverages that I would like to do, but I'm not going to have more than one on the go at a time. I've said it publicly now, so I can't do it. My second piece is Sleepy Hollow Cricket Collection. Now I always point to the wrong bit. I started at this end, not this end. Started at this end, and I've worked my way across. And I was saying that I was going to do quite a lot of outlining so that during harvest time I could just pick it up and fill it in. And this is quite an awkward one to show because it's long and floppy. So, I don't think I've done huge amounts. You'll see why. I don't think I've done huge amounts on quite a few of these, but bits, but not huge amounts on quite a few of these projects. So, let me start with, so basically I will have finished outlining these hills. I've outlined the headless horseman, put the pumpkin in his cape, so that's all ready just to be filled in. And then this is actually on to page 3, the third section. This is the start of the tree. But if I can get far enough back, excuse me, that is what it is looking like now. I haven't ironed anything, I'm afraid, so you can see a few creases. But yeah, I mean, as with all my projects, when I stitch on them, I really enjoy stitching it. But I just have quite a few to stitch on. So my third one, and I really have slackened off with these. of the Waxing Moon Designs monthly samplers, and I'm just about to finish February, so I've literally just got to fill in this border, this red border. I finished the white yesterday. I enjoy them. I think I started in October, so I've still got March through to October, so basically 6 months to do. But I think basically because I know I've got October now through till February, I'm slowing down on them a bit because I've got a bit more time to finish them, although I would like to get them done. And I think there's very definitely a shift. There's certainly a shift in the way the patterns are presented around about this time, February. This hasn't got much back stitching on it at all. Some of them have quite a lot of back stitching, and I was laughing to myself because the size of his feet, and I know it's perspective, but the size of his feet and the size of that door, I don't think he's going to fit in there, but we shall see. So that's that. I will finish that and just move straight on to March. What have I? So I have got some notes here, but I've been failing to refer to them. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. The Sleepy Hollow, sorry, my Sleepy Hollow pattern. This is on fabric from Coffee Crafts Fabric. It's a Facebook group, or she is a lady with a Facebook page, and she hand dyes lots of fabrics, and I asked her specifically, just because it's a funny size, to dye me a piece, which she did. So go and check out Coffee Crafts Fabric on Facebook. This is done on 27 count, Linda, and my Haid is done on some easy grid. I don't know what size it is actually. That's why it never gets washed, because why it never gets ironed. Because if I iron out the grids, it'll come to a grinding halt. So my next piece is the 2020 Pandemic Sampler from Sassy Girl on Instagram. Now I started this as part of the hashtag It's Been One Hell of a Year Sal, and I tend to just work on it a couple of days a month. And I think I've basically filled in the swan now. I have a slight issue just below the swan. You've got a small little gosling. I'm not sure. Well, he stands out enough because I haven't followed her colours. I've tried to stick as close as I could, but I've used what I had in my stash. But I've now round the corner, so that'll be, this is the bottom. I think I filled in the basket, started on these two cool little birds here. Yeah, just done a few bits. So I filled in the reef, that was something I did, filled in the reef. And then I'll keep going back to this eventually. But I do like this. This is on 25 count Lugana, 1/1. Really enjoy it. It's just going to take a while to get it done. Next project is from the Winds of Autumn Blackbird Designs book, and this is part of the hashtag BBD Weekend Sal, and I have opted to do First Winds of Autumn, and I'll be finishing it as a strawberry. I did get quite a lot of this done this month. I got on a bit of a roll with it. Again, I was just trying to complete things to fill in over the next month or so. So I think basically what is new is all the house and this plant there in the vase. And yeah, just got all of these vines across here. I think those are finished. I think there's more vines up here. So yeah, that's that. And this is being done on 32 count vellum from Foxglove and Lace Linen. Sorry, I'm sure it's Foxglove and Lace Linen. But I'm really enjoying stitching on this. And is this done over 1? Yeah, that's 1/2 on the 32 count. So I'm quite pleased with the progress I made on that. And next we have my Nimue apple. And this, it doesn't look like much. I have got a lot more of the apple filled in. I have gone wrong somewhere in the apple. I think I've just added an extra, so I've got an extra row or something. Essentially, so long as it looks apple-like and not pear-shaped, then I'm just going to keep on with it. Really? So this is 1/1 on 25 count, which again, once I get into it, I enjoy it. But it's not the easiest, and it's a long time since. I suppose I'm used to the gridded fabric for my Haid, but it is quite, I am marking off on this chart, which I don't normally do, remembering which place I am, and because there's so many similar colours, which colour you have done or have or haven't done. So yeah, so hopefully that won't take too much longer to finish. Oh, and I'm doing that as part of the hashtag Dark13 stitching. And then my next project is from Owl Forest Embroidery, Merry Christmas. I think it's She Cave Stitcher on Instagram. I've been watching her. I think she bought this fairly well as soon as it was released, and she's just finished it all. And yeah, she's sort of done a monthly, or I don't know, every 2 weeks she's managed to do one, and she's got it done. And they look really good. I am doing mine individually, but I'm probably not going to finish them like that, purely because I would never be able to get my wreath to hang straight. I would end up with a wonky wreath somewhere. That's just beyond my ability. Whether I put them onto a bit of bunting or something like that, I don't know. So here we are. I've done the second, which one did I do? This middle one here. The second R. So you've got M-E-R-R. Again, once I start these, really enjoy it. This is 32 count Belfast linen, I think raw or natural. And this is 1/2. And I'm using, I think it's all DMC, and the red and the green are variegated. And I am starting to cut out the lighter bits. There's some bits where it goes really, really light, and I do cut those out, so I am being a bit fussier now with this. But yeah, again, no doubt won't be finished before Christmas, but an enjoyable stitch. My next piece, Long Dog Sampler Quilts. I love this project. Absolutely love it. Love stitching on it. And have to stop myself from just picking it up all the time and stitching on it, because I think I would just stitch on this monogamously if left to my own devices. And I think I basically joined, well, I think I used the excuse that there is a Long Dog Leap Year Sal going on somewhere. Long Dog Stitcher, who I watch, was talking about it, and I thought, oh, that's great. That'll give me, I can do it on 28th and 29th of the month. That gives me a good reason to start it. But I did have a very brief look, and I couldn't find like a hashtag for the Sal on Instagram or anything. So I'm just stitching it by myself, but thinking of them as I stitch it. So yeah, so I've got quite a lot of this done. I've brought the borders down and across, done the people, done the house. Yeah, really, really enjoying this. And this is on 27 count, I think, just white Linda, 2/2. Really enjoyable stitch. And then the next piece was the Summer Storm from Alicia Poulsen. Now I was very close to a finish with this in my last video, and I have pushed on and finished it. I do still have floss that I haven't used. Doesn't seem to matter. And I think Natalie of Handmade and Homemade, Sweet Handmade and Homemade, she was showing in 1 or 2 videos ago that she had got hers out, and but she seems to be struggling with it. She doesn't seem to be, Home Sweet Home Handmade. Sorry, Home Sweet Home Handmade. She was struggling with, not this chart, she was struggling with it though. But I do think Kelly of the Dog-Eared Stitcher went and bought this. I don't know if she started it yet. So anyway, yeah, I have finished it. So this was a kit The fabric is 32 count, I think, but I don't know any more than that. Excuse the wrinkles, so I really should have ironed this. So yeah, so there we go, it is all finished. I think I'll probably just do it as a little wall hanging for the summertime. You see here, she's sort of got it artfully displayed with lace and ribbon around it and things. Whether I do put a bit of lace sort of around the edges of it or something, I don't know. But yeah, turn that into a wall hanging. So that was the finish, which is always good. And I do have autumn. I do have the autumn one of this series. I am just going to buy the DMC for it. It just fried my brain trying to work out which of the 5 pinks was the light pink or the light pink or the very light pink. Not enjoyable. The next, turn my notes over. The next project that I have is a new start, and I started this on my birthday. It didn't take much to convince me, and I started it with, or I saw on Instagram a lady, the Imperfectly Perfect Stitcher, was talking about the fact it was her birthday in July and she was going to start she was starting Dutch Beauty, and did anyone want to join her? And so I said, well, I'll join you because I've got it and I've always wanted to start it. And it's under the hashtag Imperfect BAP Birthday Sal. So this is the pattern, Dutch Beauty. I'm sure most people are familiar with it. And I started this, I haven't got very far, you'll see why soon. So I started this. This is done on 25 count 1/1, so 25 count Lugana, and I dyed this myself, and you're not getting a huge, it's pink. It's a very sort of dusty pink colour. I had a bit of a dyeing fad at one point, and I actually, excuse me whilst I just reach across, I dyed some fabrics, and initially I came out with this, and then I asked Chris and she said, oh yes, do it on that. But this was not the same fabric as this. I think they're both still even weave. So one's Lugana, so this is Lugana, and this was the Linda. This was 27 count Linda. And even though I dunked this straight into the same batch that I'd put this in, it came out that bit lighter, which I don't mind. I'm quite happy, I do like it. Even over 1, this is still going to be quite a big chart. But yeah, really enjoying it so far. And I was a little bit concerned doing it over 1, and then I came out with this really cute little windmill, and I thought, oh yeah, no, I like that. So that's my Dutch Beauty, and that isn't within a, oh it is, it's within the hashtag Imperfect BAP Birthday Sal. And then I had another new start. So in my last video, I'd said that it was my birthday, and Kelly, the dog-eared stitcher, messaged saying, oh, it's my birthday in July. And I texted back saying, oh, when? Thinking, be careful now, because you know you're going to be coerced into starting something. And she's actually literally the week after mine. And so we decided that we'd meet halfway and have a start. And I was talking to my partner about this because I think she still falls under the same star sign as I do. And I don't really believe a huge amount in that. But over the years, there are definite people that I've seen that, yeah, you are Sagittarius or you are whatever. You can see them in groups. You can see them together and you think, God, you're so similar. Anyway, so of course I said, what do you want to start? She said, I don't mind, what do you want to start? I said, I don't mind, what do you want to start? What charts have you got? What do you like? And so it took us quite a while before we decided what we were actually going to do. And we decided that, or I decided in the end, that we'd go for a Brenda Gervais. We both wanted to do a small, but I said I'd do a Brenda Gervais, of which she had, well, is it the Scarlet House? I can't remember which one she's doing now. That's a bit bad of me, sorry. So we didn't have to do the same chart, we just do the same designer. So I started the Potting Shed by Brenda Gervais. And I actually took this, so I started it because this was the week that we went on holiday. So I started it and took it with me because I thought it's quite small. It's all kitted up. It'll be good to do it just easy to take over the week, because normally I don't do much stitching if we go away. But actually I had a bit more time and I've managed to finish it. So I have stitched fairly monogamously on this for about 10 days. I did have a new start one evening. And I haven't done as much stitching as I would normally do, obviously because we've been away, because it's summertime, blah, blah, blah. But I'm quite chuffed that I've managed to finish it. I haven't stuck, again, I haven't followed, well, sorry, we're not going to have a rant, but we're just going to have a little discussion about the fact that this is all charted in Fancy Floss, which is absolutely great, even down to one stitch for her ear. You want me to buy a whole skein of floss for one stitch where you're not even going to see the variegation? I'm not a huge Fancy Floss user anyway, just because I'm not very good at using it. And so I just converted it to DMC and then sort of chose, but I stuck to the theme and chose what I wanted. The only way I did slightly change is the vine colour should be the same as the truck or the cart, but I didn't want it to be the same. So I blended one strand from the vine and one strand from the lady's dress and the cart there, so the cart there, so it looks slightly sort of muddier green. And then the beehives, sorry, that looks a bit better. The beehives, I mixed two different DMCs to try and get a bit more sort of depth into it. But anyway, really pleased with that. Don't know quite how I'm going to finish it, but it is finished. So, Kelly, crack on. Pressure's on now, dear. And then my final start. I'm going to blame Shaz Bruce for this. It's completely her fault. She posted her new start, which was a red sampler, underneath hashtag red thread with a friend. And I bought this red thread a while ago from Poppy Patch in Northampton. This is the country, this is the one from Australia. I can't remember the name of it now. It's gone completely. It's country something. But yes, so this is the one that you can find at Poppy Patch. So I bought this red. It's lovely. It's got lots of variegation in it. And I've been thinking for a while, because I did have a red sampler. I think, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind starting that. I wouldn't mind starting it. So then, of course, I got my excuse. So I started it. And I'm going to say, this could be completely wrong. I'm going to say Heloise Cornu 1896 from Reflet de Soie. And so this was the red sampler that I chose to do. And then I broke a rule. Don't really know what you can do about it, but I broke a rule, so, you know, sue me. And I started it on a new piece of fabric that I'd bought, so I didn't save it to show in haul, I just started it. And I'm very excited about this fabric. So this is another fabric from Foxglove and Lace Linen. Sorry, I don't know why I always struggle with that, Foxglove and Lace Linen. And this lady hand dyes the fabrics and then puts them on Instagram, and it's the first one to comment sold. And it just gets absolutely frenetic. And you go, oh my God, hit the button, hit the button, hit the button, refresh, refresh. And inevitably it goes. So I end up just going, sold, sold, sold for anything. And I ended up with a piece of 36 count, which I've never stitched on before. But I was really, really pleased because I can see it and I can stitch on it. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm doing this one strand over two, and again, it's vellum, which is the same that I am doing my Blackbird design piece on. But yeah, it's a lovely fabric, comes serged. I mean, really, really good. And I love the thread. And that was one night. Yeah, I think that was one night, quite a long night, I'd imagine, but one night. So I'm quite pleased with that. The only thing I am struggling, I'm not struggling, but I struggle to find a flow with it because I don't particularly want to carry on the back because it's actually quite a sort of light linen. I don't want to carry it on the back because I think you will see it through. So I have to concentrate a lot to sort of pick my way across it and then try and remember which bit I have or haven't done. But yeah, so I'm really pleased. really pleased I've started it. Really pleased I'm able to stitch on this particular piece of 36 count fabric. It's opened up a bit more fabric for me. Really pleased I'm using my new thread. Just pleased, very pleased. So that brings us to the end of all my whips. Whew. It's still really hot. I know we shouldn't complain, but so plans are to keep on stitching on those, try and get a finish or two. Well, a finish. Let's not overstretch ourselves now with 2. And the other part of my plan is to start Pineberry Lane, the Harvest Dance, and I'm doing this as a Sal with Ellie Welly Stitcher, and she has come up with the hashtag Fancy Harvest Sal, and we are starting this on August the 1st, so I need to get some fabric organised. And I think Stitching Whippet has already committed to starting, not this particular pattern, but she has some Fancy Blacket, because it's a series. She does have a Fancy Blacket chart that she's going to start as well. So if you would like to join us, please do. Be excited to see everyone's progress. As I said, I need to organise my fabric for that. So that is plans. I'm going to talk quickly about a bit of fabric dyeing I did. Sorry, you'll have to excuse me. I've been swimming and I'm having a reaction to it now. So this was the piece I showed you. And this is all the same fabric. I just cut a long strip and cut it into squares. And I used Dylon dyes to dye these, which I'm quite happy with Dylon dyes, don't have an issue with them. But if you go onto the internet, they don't offer you the sort of the colour recipes that you get with the RIT dye. So if you go onto the RIT dye website, you can then go, well, I want to, you know, basically it just comes up with hundreds of different colours and gives you, 1 tablespoon of this, 1 teaspoon of that, mix it together and you'll come out with this colour. So whilst I like Dylon dyes, you don't have that, so it's always a bit hit and miss. But I thought, well, I'll give it a go. So this was a pink with some brown mixed into it, which I quite liked. I'm not hugely into heavily mottled fabric. I just want a bit of colour for some things. This I called my swamp mix. It was green, brown. I think I might have put some blue in there as well. So I quite like that. Oh, and that was the same one that I used for... This was the same dye. So I dyed this fabric. You see there's a bit more mottling in the bottom of there. But I dyed this fabric with it. So again, it's just that different brand seems to have taken a slightly different colour. And that's fine, because if it's lighter, at least you can always go darker. But actually, I like that as it was, so I left it. And then I did a couple, I appear to have lost one, in tea bags. And so I think that was just plain Earl Grey, which would just be a nice sort of samplery colour. And this one I think was peppermint tea, actually. Sorry. Again, just a nice, neutral sampler colour. So I am going to go out and buy some more tea bags and see what we come out with. And just give it a go. If you're only doing, if I end up finishing this as a pillow and cutting this strip off the bottom of it, I'm really not going to be able to do much with that. I won't do it with this because I've already dyed it. But, if it was on a plain piece of fabric, you might as well just cut it into small bits and dunk it in a pot of tea. Or a cup of tea. I literally have 4 cups of tea lined up. Bits of fabric dunked in them. So yeah, so give that a go and I might buy myself some RIT dyes. We'll see. Haul and winnings. For once, well, for twice, I've won something. I always moan that I don't win anything, but then I very rarely actually enter the giveaways. So it's not really surprising, is it? But I did happen to win 2 things this time. So the first one I won was this chart Basket of Eggs by Shakespeare Pedlar. And I won this from Annie, the proper stitcher. And she's a lady who started a Flosstube channel a couple of months ago now. She also has a Facebook group. And she's very active on Instagram. So if you haven't watched Annie, the proper stitcher, go over and have a look. She has lots of lovely patterns. And there's the most immaculate craft room with shelves with everything neatly placed. I did comment one day I would aspire to have shelves like yours where everything's actually tidy and organised. And the second chart I won from Michelle of Mommalovesyougb, and this was at the time she was running a giveaway on her Flosstube, and then she put 2 charts onto her Instagram post, and I won one of the charts off of her Instagram post. So that was very kind of her. And it's Puntini, a rose for you. Pretty chart, and it came with the buttons. In fact, it came with 2 buttons, but I think you only need 1. And I have already promised this chart to somebody once I've stitched it, but you know, don't run out to buy the floss because you might not be getting it for a few weeks yet. And then a couple of days ago on the Stash Unload UK website, a lady put up these 2, and obviously it's very sad to hear that Barb of Blackbird Designs has passed away. Not necessarily buying these just because, you know, I'm worried that chart's gonna run out or whatever. They just happen to come up and I like them, so I purchased them. So the first one is The Long and Winding Road. I just think that's so pretty. And the second one I got from the same lady was Oh Joyous Day. So I'm pleased with those. As I said, every now and again you get a real gem on that website or Facebook page. And then my final purchase, well, within the cross stitching section, my final purchase was, I've shown you the piece of linen which I started my red sampler on. In my sold. I managed to get a 32 count piece as well, which is great. Again, of vellum, which suits me. I absolutely love it. Really do like it. So yeah. So I got the 32 count and 36 count. And that's foxglove and lace linen. You know, really quick shipping. Yeah, just all good. So I think that is the end of my cross stitching section. So if you're leaving me here, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the video so far. I hope, you know, do leave a comment if you're stitching anything I'm stitching, or if you're stitching something you think I might like to stitch, which generally tends to be everything, then do let me know. And yeah, I hope to see you probably middle of September. This is a bit later than I would have planned just because we went away last week. But as I said, there won't be another Flosstube in August, back in mid-September. So I hope to see you then. Take care, have a joyful rest of July, have an awesome August, and I hope you have a superb start to your September. And so now we're going to go on to quilting. And I have a bit to show you the quilting. So my Etoile Rouge kit, I had planned to get more done, I haven't. What I did manage to do was finally finished the sashing and the cornerstones. So I've got a safety pin stuck on the fabric. So I've managed to put my sashing and cornerstones together. And I'm pleased I made the effort to go back and change it so that the cornerstones were the correct way around. I did have a bit of a hissy fit temper tantrum and said that I wasn't, and then told myself to get on with it. So I have done, and I'm pleased. And then what I've actually done is I've just put the first 3 starts at this end. First 3 blocks together. I mean, this is a block a week. And it started in January. Not till the middle of January. Not that makes a huge difference, but it started in January. And I've managed to get 3 blocks done so far. So block 1, 2, 3. And then I've just put the sashing strips in between. So I am still enjoying it. I'm glad I've got my sashing done. And, you know, I don't think that I probably won't. I might catch up. Never say never. but it's quite unlikely. But as it doesn't actually finish until next January, because this I'm doing theoretically as a Christmas quilt, so hence the red, gold and green. And I started all joyfully going, oh, I'll have a Christmas quilt for Christmas. And because it doesn't actually finish until the middle of next January, I won't be having it until Christmas 2022 anyway. So I don't really see the rush at the moment, to be honest with you. The second quilt I have been working on is my half square triangle quilt. These were fat quarter bundles I bought from the Bramble Patch at Northampton. And then I bought this white as a sort of filler to make up. And I think I was quite chuffed. I think I got sort of 6 meters or so of fabric for £40, very nice fabric. And so this is just really, really simple. And I've started putting it together. I've still got a lot more to go. Now, there is no really right side up and wrong side up. But I think I was working it, sorry. I was working it so that the dark, essentially the dark fabric's on the top and the lighter fabric. And as you can see, something in there isn't the same as all the others. But I left it because I actually think it adds to the charm. That's my excuse and I'm sticking with it. So this is the width. So this is the width. And I would say I'm about halfway through of it now. So I am making this king sized and I will be putting a border on it, I think, just to drop it down that bit lower. Because I've eventually managed to get John to sleep underneath one of my quilts. Well, actually, I'm sleeping underneath 2 of them at the moment. God, does he move about? My quilt keeps on disappearing. I keep having to yank it back off of him. So I thought, well, once I've made it, I'm just going to put another bigger border. Sorry, my hair's going berserk. Bigger border on it. Ooh. To make it really hang down so that he can roll all he wants and I will still have quilt to cover me. But yeah, so that's just really, really simple, but I think quite effective, very enjoyable. Chain piecing. As I said, you just have to remember to get it the right way round and also not to end up with, as you can see here, sort of white and white. You know, I'm trying to make sure I mix it up a bit. I do find that quite hard. To not make a pattern. And then the other pieces I have started, and I started these because I went on a road quilt trip with my friend Jan, who is my quilty BFF. And we decided we wanted a day out, and the shop we had thought we would go to was shut. And so I looked up quilt shops near me because we don't actually have many in-store quilt shops near us. And 2 or 3 came up around Huntingdon, which is only 20 minutes down the A1 from us here. And I was just quite surprised because, I mean, Jan's been quilting for years. She's in 3 or 4 different groups. I've joined a couple of those groups with her and I've been quilting for, I think, 3 or 4 or 5 years now. And she hadn't heard of 2 of the shops and they're only 20 minutes down the road. And it's like, how can you not know? I don't know, people just have never mentioned them. So by the power of the internet, we went. We had a really, really nice day actually. So the first shop we went to was in St.Ives, Escape and Create it's called. And it's a lovely shop, 2-storey, lots and lots of fabric. And I found myself, so I was looking actually, because it didn't need anything, but you know, just in case. I was looking for the backing fabric or the background fabric for my Dancing Chickens and Flying Pigs. And it actually calls for linen background, 3 meters. And so this shop had the linen fabric for it. Huge great big bolt of it, £14 a metre. Oh God, that's quite expensive. Although it's not really, but... And she also had calico there. And I said, well, I've used calico before. Is there any reason why I couldn't use calico for this sort of project? And explained what it was. And she said, no, not really. It should work absolutely fine. And the linen was quite an open weave. So I did think, well, actually, because you're sort of not necessarily carrying your threads, but I just thought it would see through far more. Anyway, I bought myself calico at £4 a metre, so I was happy. And I have started, oh, I should have ironed this, sorry. I've started the first, I had to start it because I bought the fabric, so I had to start it. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, I have, oh, can you see that wording? Yeah, so I have just, these are the edges. And then I started, and this is 3 strands because it actually calls for Valdani thread. I'm using Anchor just because. So yeah, so that's quite good. So that is the start of that very top one up there. And when I get a minute, I will start to do a bit of the applique just to see how it goes. I just wanted to start it and see what it was like. So I have done that. And then we went to Patches in Huntingdon, which is actually in Huntingdon Huntingdon Town Centre. And it was fantastic because you parked on top of the shopping centre itself. So we literally went down in an elevator and walked out, and we were straight next door to the Patches, the shop. And in there, oh, I did actually also buy some of these. So in the first, actually in all three shops, I started buying myself some wacky, not so wacky, in your face fabrics, fat quarters. And that was the thing with Patches in Huntingdon, where she had the fabrics were on the bolt, and then she had the shelf underneath, she had cut fat quarters, and the shelf underneath, they were all fat eighths. You could buy individually, which I thought was a really good way to do it, actually. That's not so wacky, but it's pretty, and it goes with the others. And I bought those to go with Chris Hindle sent me some fabric a while ago, scraps of fabric from my scrappy quilt, and I bought these to go in here. This is the Dear Jen by Jen Kingwell. And I hadn't really read the cover, or I hadn't really read the book thoroughly, because a lot of these are applique, or some of these are applique, and the rest of them are hand pieced. I was like, ooh, okay. So because I bought the fabric, obviously I had to start and try. And so I have started, when I say I've started, let's not go for excited now. I block one. And I'm going to very quickly flash what you get, which is basically templates. So this piece of plastic here is my template plastic. Cut them out. It took me a while to work out how to make the templates. I've never done anything like this before, so it took me a while to work out how to make the templates. And I did go through trying to use a cereal, a cereal box cardboard sort of thing that didn't really work at all. That was mine. So I ended up caving and started using my template plastic, which is absolutely great to work with. So I have labelled some of these. And then the first one I sewed together, and it was all a bit higgledy-piggledy. And then I watched a YouTube channel, thank goodness for YouTube channel on hand piecing. And yeah, that made it a lot easier when somebody tells you how to do it. But this is all that I managed. So this was in evening's work. I was, yeah, this was done in full by the time I'd worked all of this out. So that is hand piece. That doesn't look particularly even, but it is. So it just needs ironing out a bit there. So that, a very small piece, is just one of the 4 that I have to make for this block, and then make all of the rest of it. So this is going to be a long-term project, but I am enjoying it. And now I've sort of, now I've learned how to cut the templates out properly, mark them so I use my 1/4 inch seam. It's a good one, and I'm going to have lots of fun. I've been through all my other fabric and pulled out various ones that mix and match and don't match and clash horribly. And so it's going to be lots of fun to just pull and do, but it is going to be a long-term project. There's no two ways about that. And then the third fabric shop we went to, well, I did buy some of those fat quarters from as well, was Escape and Create I've talked about Escape and Create, sorry, Be Crafty in Ellington, which is just outside of Huntingdon, very easy to get to, just straight off the A14, go through a village, and it's an old farmyard, and they've converted one of the buildings for this fabric shop. And yet they had lots of lovely fabric, and actually so Be Crafty in Ellington and Escape and Create in St.Ives all had spaces for workshops and things like that. So if you're local-ish to the area, I mean, it's straight down the A1, if you're local-ish to the area, and you either haven't been to them before, or if you're looking for groups to join or workshops to do or classes to go and do go and look at Be Crafty in Ellington and Escape and Create in St.Ives, because they've got it all. And as I said, Patches in Huntingdon was a great shop, really nice shop, but I just don't think she has the workshop space. And I think that is it. Just over an hour. Sorry about that. So my plans for the quilting are just to keep on piecing my half square triangles, to get some of the blocks cut out, or the pieces cut out for my Etoile Rouge quilt, and just to keep on fiddling away with the others as I feel like it. So my Dancing Chickens and Flying Pigs, and my Dear Jen by Jen Kingbell quilt. So that's it. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for staying with me if you've made it this far. Any comments, please do leave them. And I hope that you will be back in September to see my updates. Hopefully there will be some updates, because we're having too nice weather, so it's bound to rain. So I might be able to get some stuff done. Take care. Have a joyful July, awesome August, and a superb start to your September. Bye.